So this article you sent over, the one about scientific breakthroughs, really got me thinking. I mean, we always picture like cutting edge labs, universities, when we think big discoveries, right?
Right, right.
But this article is saying some of the most groundbreaking stuff actually comes from, well, kind of unexpected places.
Yeah, it's true. The history of science is full of these aha moments, and they didn't all happen in a lab.
Exactly. And they dive right in with Einstein, which how can you not? Working at the patent office when he publishes those 1905 papers? I mean, come on.
It's iconic for a reason, right?
Totally. It just blows my mind reviewing patents by day, revolutionizing physics in his spare time.
See, that's the thing. It's almost like that unexpected setting helped. He wasn't bogged down by, the pressures of academia yet, free to think radically.
Ooh, that's interesting. Because I get that. Sometimes my best ideas at work, they hit me on my morning run. Or like spacing out in the shower, not even trying.
There you go. You disconnect from the intense focus, your
Yeah.
mind wanders, makes connections, boom, creative spark.
And the article argues that modern science, with all the funding stuff, publishing, competition, it's almost like we're stifling that, right?
Could be. It makes you wonder, if Einstein was starting today, all those pressures, would he even have the mental space for those breakthroughs?
Whoa, yeah, like we've accidentally made it harder to be a revolutionary thinker.
In a way, yeah. They use Max Planck as an example, too. Now, Planck, huge GE name in physics.
Mm-hmm.
But even at GE got pushback for supporting Einstein's work.
Really? I thought by then Einstein was like, Einstein.
Oh, sure, eventually. But back then, this was Ed New W. The article specifically mentions the photoelectric effect controversial stuff.
Okay, gotta ask, for those of us who may have slept through some physics classes, photoelectric effect, in a nutshell.
Basically, it's how light can knock electrons loose from atoms. Sounds simple, but classical physics couldn't explain it well.
Uh-huh. And Einstein's explanation was?
Light isn't just a wave, it's also like particles. These tiny packets of energy photons, radical stuff for the time. Basically, the foundation of what we now call quantum mechanics.
So Planck was sticking his neck out for something that rewrote how we understand light itself.
Exactly. And that took guts. Back then, challenging the established science, career-making or breaking.
Makes you think what LSE is out there, right? Ideas that just get sidelined because they're too out there.
Exactly. And that is the perfect segue to the article's other big example, cold fusion. Talk about skepticism.
Yeah, and they kind of blow past it, assuming we know, so. For those of us who slept through high school physics, remind me, cold fusion, that's...
Think harnessing the power of the sun, but like at room temperature.
Okay, now that would be a game changer, but why is it so controversial?
Because it basically says a lot of what we think we know about nuclear physics is wrong. The prevailing theory is that fusion, the process that powers the sun, requires immense temperatures and pressures, like the inside of a star.
Right.
Cold fusion says, nope, might be doable with way less energy. Throws a wrench in things.
So it's like the scientific community saying, hold on, that's not how the universe works.
Pretty much. And look, skepticism is good, important even. But, and this is the article's point, is the cold fusion dismissal AL rigorous science? Or is it partly because it just messes with our deeply held beliefs about how things work?
Good point. It's like with Einstein and the photoelectric effect, sometimes the truly big leaps need you to change how you see the whole picture.
Exactly. Big shifts are uncomfortable, especially for the folks who built their careers on the old picture.
Right. Makes you wonder if those scientists who resisted Einstein had just retired a bit sooner, would it have sped things up?
Huh. Well, there is that quote by Max Planck. And remember, Planck was a huge name himself.
Oh yeah, he backed Einstein early on, didn't he?
He did. But even he said something like, a new scientific truth doesn't win by convincing its opponents, but rather because those opponents eventually die off and the new W generation grows up familiar with it.
Wow. A little dark, but I get it.
Dramatic, sure. But the point is, sometimes it takes a fresh set of eyes, unburdened by the old assumptions, to really run with a radical idea.
So we could be missing out on huge progress just because we're too attached to the old ways of doing things.
It's a risk. And that's the problem with only funding research that fits neatly into what we already accept. Got to be open to exploring the fringes, even if it seems crazy at first.
It's like that saying, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results is, well, you know the rest.
Exactly. If we want different results, groundbreaking stuff, we got to be willing to try different things.
Yeah.
Think differently.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Which, I think, brings us back to the heart of the article, yeah? It's not just the where of breakthroughs, but the mindset that allows them.
100%. Not about fancy labs or budgets, but about curiosity, challenging assumptions, courage to explore.
So, not Einstein the patent clerk, but Einstein the relentlessly curious is.
There you go. It's about making sure Einstein time, that unstructured, free-flowing thought, isn't a luxury, but a necessity for how we approach science.
Speaking of Einstein time,
Mm.
what's your patent office? Where do you do your best thinking? Almost like we should, like, schedule it in, you know?
Yeah.
2 p.m. to 2:30, stare out window, let mind wander. Sounds silly.
Maybe, but there is something to it, right? We're so used to busy equals productive, we forget the power of just letting the mind rest.
And that's when the connections pop up, right? Not even trying to solve a problem, then bam, solution out of nowhere.
Like it was working in the background all along, the subconscious.
Yeah.
Then, when you least expect it, presents you with the answer.
Love that. Okay, so if we're going to leave our listeners with one thought from this whole thing, what's the takeaway?
What if the next T big thing, the Einstein level idea,
Yeah.
it isn't in a lab or university at all? What if it's out there, waiting for someone with an open mind to just stumble on it?
Ooh, I like that. So everyone listening, think about it. What are your unexpected places, activities where creativity just hits your own patent office, so to
Yeah.
speak? Maybe it's time to clock in a little more often, see what comes up.
Now that's a thought worth pondering.
It really is. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Remember, sometimes the biggest discoveries happen when we least expect them.